Welcome to this vlog on spiritual well-being and specifically the importance of sleep and our sleep sanctuary. Now, a good sleep is more than just our spiritual well-being. It's about our holistic, our whole well-being, our whole self. When we have a good night's sleep, we probably feel like we can take on the world. And when we have a poor night's sleep, I don't know about you, but I'm probably pretty grumpy the next day and looking for any excuse to meditate so I can have a cheeky afternoon nap. Sleep is important to process what's been going on in our conscious mind. But for spiritual well-being, it's important we understand our sleep patterns as they relate to the moon cycles, as they relate to seasonal changes, and we're going through some of those at the moment. It's important to understand the impact of our dreams on our spiritual well-being as well. And at the end of this vlog, I'm going to give you some ideas that have worked for me that may enhance your sleep sanctuary and your spiritual well-being. So let's get started with sleep cycles, moon cycles, and patterns. When it comes to sleep and spiritual well-being, my view is that the guidance that we should get 8 hours a night or 6 hours a night, whatever the current thinking may be from science and specialists, cannot be right for everyone. Every physical body is different, every brain is different, every emotion we have is different. So I don't think there is one size fits all. So the important thing for spiritual well-being and overall well-being is to know what your sleep patterns are. And the first thing to say from a spiritual well-being perspective is my sleep pattern is not the same every night and every day of the year. It's impacted by the moon cycles and it's impacted by the seasons and the transition of seasons. So to notice what's going on with your spiritual well-being, it's a good thing to just keep a little journal, make a few notes of what your sleep is like around the new and the full moons. And also in between if you can, but particularly start with those two. So for example, Thursday, Friday just gone, in the early hours of Friday morning just gone, the moon was at its fullest and it's going to start waning again now. So how was your sleep Thursday, Friday, and maybe a couple of days beforehand as well? Were you impacted by the new moon? Did you sleep better? Did you sleep more deeply? Or was your sleep more disturbed? Now for me, my sleep was okay. So because we had 3 moons at the end of December 2024, we had a new moon, a full moon, and a new moon at the end of the month. The calendar month and the moon cycles have shifted. So the past couple of years, it had been the new moon in the middle of the month and the full moon at the end of the month. But what we have now is the full moon in the middle of the month and the new moon at the end of the month. So I used to have quite disturbed sleep and disturbed dreams and significant dreams at the end of the month for the full moon. But now the full moon is more in the middle of the month. I'm sleeping reasonably well. I may wake up because I might need a bio break, as the saying goes, but I sleep reasonably well. So how are you sleeping at that midpoint of the month? And then how are you sleeping at the end of the month now, towards the end of the month, when it's the new moon cycle? Now there's a sense of, with the full moon, everything's becoming full and bright and lighter. So it may be that you need less sleep because your body has a lot more energy in it. Whereas when the moon's waning and you get down to the full moon, get down to the new moon, there's less light and energy available. So for the next couple of months or so, if you're up for it, just make a few notes for yourself and notice what your sleep pattern was like, what your sleep cycles were like Thursday, Friday, and then notice again at the end of the month what they might be like, and just track it for a couple of months. Not in any spreadsheet kind of way, just a few little journal notes for yourself to notice what's going on. Now, I've never been a great sleeper because I've always had quite significant dreams. And it's taken me some time to deal with those and learn how to improve my sleep hygiene. But I did read a book once called Sleep, and I'll put the details at the end of this video. And the one thing I learnt from that was our circadian rhythms, our biological cycle goes in 90-minute sections, if you like. And if you want to get 6 hours sleep, that's kind of 3 sleep cycles. So the idea is that if you wake up in the middle of a sleep cycle, you don't try and go back to sleep immediately. You just lie very still. You keep yourself peaceful and rested, and then you will naturally fall again when that next cycle starts. And that was really helpful for me because instead of getting stressed about, oh, I'm not sleeping, I need to go to sleep, I need to do this, I understood more about what the rhythms of my physical and natural body were that made me more restful. And then, of course, sleep comes more easily. So one thing for you to do is to, if you want to, track what your sleep patterns are, make a note, some journal notes for the new and the full moons, and I'll reference this book at the end of the video for you. But let's talk a bit more about dreams now, because that's important when it comes to spiritual well-being. The first thing I want to say about dreams is you do not have to keep a notebook at the side of the bed. You do not have to scramble for your phone in the middle of the night to try and make a voice note to remind you what it was. That's not the importance for us. Remembering our dream is not the important bit. The important bit is, how did that dream make us feel? So do you wake up quite frantic and with a start and you feel a little bit scared or frightened, or you feel unsettled? Maybe unsettled is a good word. You feel unsettled by something. There's no point trying to scramble and remember what it was, because during sleep we're told by science that our brain is processing all those things that happened, and so that is just part of that processing. So our conscious mind doesn't want to remember it, so there's no point making any effort to remember it, because it's something that needs to be released and let go. But the feeling is important because it tells you something about either what you're releasing, it might tell you something about what you've been concerned or worried about. And it's important to know because it tells you where you are with your spiritual well-being. Now, there are other dreams you wake up from and you might not be able to remember the dream, and you feel, oh yeah, really fuzzy, I had a really good dream. I don't know what it was about, but I know that I woke up and that was a happy dream. That was something that made me feel good. So it's about understanding what the feeling and the emotion is that comes with the dream, not about remembering everything that happened. Decades ago, I used to I'd wake up and try and write it down. I got to the point where I just couldn't read my writing when I woke up on a morning. And my dreams often happen, the bits that I remember often happen, it's little vignettes. It's like not quite, it's not a coherent movie or film, but it's little bits, little scenes that come that I remember the next morning. And this person did this, and that was really weird. Or I dreamt about someone that I haven't seen for decades. That was really weird. And there is, a spiritual stream about interpreting dreams, and it can be very difficult to do that because it's not just about the spiritual well-being, it's about the conscious mind, the brain processing what it needs to process. So when it comes to dreams, for me, it's about how do I feel, and if I wake up unsettled, it's deep breathing, it's allowing the feeling to pass, and then knowing that I'm safe and secure and protected by the universe, I can go back to sleep. I try not to get up once the dream has made me feel like that. I just try to let the feeling pass and carry on sleeping. And again, if you want to kind of notice if there's any patterns to this, you can, keep some journal notes. There are some dreams that we do remember quite vividly, and those are the dreams that the universe, spirit wants you to remember because there will be a lesson in them. Now, you may go Google, you may have a book, you may look at what do all these dreams mean, but quite honestly, the dream is never just one thing. You can dream of a heron, it means one thing. You can dream of a seagull, it means something else. But it's never just one thing in a dream, is it? It's this complex mass of scenarios and things that happen. And all you can do is ask the universe to bring you the guidance and the insight at the right time, because it may not be the right time for that dream to be interpreted. So I tend not to try and interpret my dreams. I just wait for the lesson and the guidance to come, and it usually comes at the right time. Now, I've specifically said dreams and unsettling dreams, but sometimes if you feel you have a nightmare and it has really deeply unsettled you, it may be that you do need to get up, to calm yourself, to do something to allow that to flow before you can get back in bed and go to sleep. Find what works for you. And talking of what works for you, I'm now going to share with you some of the things that I do for my spiritual well-being for sleep and sleep hygiene that helps me have a best night's sleep as I can have. I'm going to share with you some of the things I have in my sleep sanctuary, my bedroom, and some of the things I do for my spiritual well-being for a peaceful night's sleep. I'm going to start with the dream catcher, and you're probably familiar with the dream catcher. So I have one of those hanging in my window, which is also above my bed. And the idea of a dream catcher is the dream catcher catches in its net the bad dreams or the nightmares, and when the sun rises, it just melts away because it can't escape the net. It can't go anywhere. It can't go into the universe's vibrational frequency. It can't come back to you. The dream catcher catches it. But the good dreams, the light dreams, they flow through the dream catcher. That's the idea of it. And it may be a placebo effect, but I'm good with that because placebos are known to work. So I do have a dream catcher. That's really important to me. On the full and new moon cycles, I also cleanse my bedroom. I cleanse the energy. I used to use a smudge stick, and I do like the smudge and the sage because it does cleanse the bedroom really well. But for me, the scent hangs around for days afterwards. It makes the air feel a little bit thick. So recently, I've started using sage incense sticks, and that's much better. It still cleanses, the energy still feels fresh, but I don't have that strong sage scent that hangs around as much as it used to with a smudge stick. The other thing I have is I have an essential oil roll on for sleep, and I put that on the pulse points just before I put my head on the pillow and get the covers over me. And before I go to sleep, so when I get into bed, I reflect on the day. I'm not journaling because journaling sets my conscious mind going, and that's not what I want to do when I'm going to bed. It's just that lie down, deep breath, exhale, and just reflect on the day. And it's not reflecting on the diary of the day and all the things I did. It's reflecting on the day in terms of how did I feel, what did I enjoy doing, what point did I feel stressed and why did I get stressed about that? But also that sense of gratitude of, yeah, today was a good day. I feel really good. I'm going to have a good night's sleep and feel energized for tomorrow. So if you are journaling before you go to bed, maybe just try not doing that for a couple of nights and see if that helps improve your sleep as well, because it does set off your conscious mind, and that's the thing that we most want to make peaceful before we go to bed. Sometimes I wear a crystal bracelet in bed, one for protection or peace or wisdom or something. Don't do that every night, but it's something occasionally I like to do, particularly if I've had maybe a challenging day and I've been more stressed than I wished I'd been, or something hasn't quite gone according to plan. I might wear one then. You may also want to use an oil diffuser at bedtime as well. You can get some lovely nighttime blends, sleep easy blends. And you can put that on for half an hour or an hour before you go to bed to freshen up the bedroom, to again cleanse the energy and make it peaceful. There are lots of spray mist you can get for pillows as well. But for me, it's my dream catcher. It's cleansing the energy every new and full moon. It's my sleep roll on. I do put that on the pillow as well. And it's just that reflection at the end of the day. How did I feel? And the gratitude for the day, and to be peaceful and look forward to the next day. And that's my spiritual well-being for sleep. Wishing you a very good night's sleep. Take care.